Welcome back to Three Chords and the Truth. I'm Pete Kramer. I've got my good buddy Alex Nobles as co-host with me, and we got a really cool show lined up for you tonight. Couple things first. As always, please remember Special Spaces at Buffalo. They do some great work for kids that are sick. They redo the bedrooms for them with a theme that's inspirational to them, whether it's Star Wars or Spider-Man, whatever. Look them up online if you have the opportunity. They're 100% donations, and they appreciate anything that they get. The other little bit of business to clean up, we were supposed to have Jamie Holka on tonight. Unfortunately, his son is in the hospital with an intestinal illness. We're saying some prayers for him that the kid's okay, and hopefully we'll have Jamie back in the future. If you've not seen Jamie, and I'll bring in our guest in a second, but the first time I saw Jamie play guitar, I thought I was watching Stevie Ray Vaughan is the only one I could really compare him to because he was such an exceptional guitar player. But true to form, being a cool guy that he is, Richie Vanderwald decided to go ahead and Richie Derwald. Why did I say Vanderwald? Richie Derwald decided to step in and fill the gap for us. And Richie, thanks so much, man. So good to see you.
Great. It's great to be here. And I know Jamie Holka is going to be on the show. He's also like incredibly busy. He's in high demand. He's like doing like 5 different projects. And I know from past experience, Jamie Holka is maybe one of the most reliable guys I know. This is very uncharacteristic that he wouldn't make an interview. And when he comes on, I'm going to look forward to everybody being able to finally meet him over this interview because he's an amazing talent, but he's a really great guy, and I think everyone's going to find that out once he's on your show.
Yeah, he was very apologetic in the email that he sent, and I finally told him, I said, Jamie, don't, you got nothing to apologize for. Family first, I mean, you got to take care of that, and we'll be praying for your son. But he was supposed to be at your house tonight, right?
Yeah, basically, he's so talented, and I've seen him do these solo gigs where it's just him on the guitar. I believe it's Peter Vincent. That's with them. Who's great. He's this act is amazing. I actually want to see it live, and I've played with Jamie Holka in different bands, and he was absolutely amazing as a lead player, but it blows my mind how he can just hold a whole night with just him on the guitar. And it's if I just suggest that people go on YouTube or actually he puts videos on my page too, which is Changes 2021 Comfort Through Creativity. And Jamie Holka and a whole lot of other talent is on there. I'm hoping to get Peter Vincent to post some videos too. But anyway, I am looking forward to a time where everybody can meet Jamie Holka. And I was having him over to my house anyway because I wanted to just do some unplugged songs with just me and Jamie on the guitar. I think that would be a beautiful experiment.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was looking forward to playing actually live right there in your home, and that would have been very cool to do. And just to keep things on an equal basis, Alex was unavailable because he was gone on that project for his job the last time that you were on the show. But
right,
the way that we left your show was that we ran out of time, so. There was a lot more things that that you wanted to say, that we wanted to hear, and I'm sure that Alex is going to have some questions for you because you don't need to hear me yapping. This isn't about me. So I'll let you go with what you'd like to go to, Richie, and again, Alex can ask the questions. But back to Jamie, the first video I saw of Jamie, Alex, he played Sgt. Pepper without singing it, every note, as though someone was singing it, as well as all the background stuff. And there was no, MP3s going on in the background or anything like that. He played it live, man. He's that cool. He's that good.
That's awesome.
He does not need MP3s. No, he's I don't know. I don't know how to even categorize him. I mean, pretty much he can freelance from band to band, and like everybody wants him because he can play so many different styles and play it well. And anyway, I'm looking forward to everyone seeing his personality, and I'm looking forward to doing some unplugged stuff with him.
Yeah, that's very cool. Richie, we talked on the phone the other morning, so why don't you just jump into the things that you said that you'd like to talk about the way we did on the phone?
Well, in our last interview, I try to jump through the different stages of my career, so I could talk about my song changes, mm-hmm. and but I'd like to kind of like talk about how entertainment has really enhanced my life. I was a very obese child, and I had it all going on. I was obese. I had glasses with a patch on it. I stuttered. So do the math. I was really highly bullied and made fun of, And my first memory is I was in 5th grade, and I was really practicing hard to get in this talent show for school. And I practiced so much. I was doing Groucho Marx. And I even had I remember the audition, I had shoe polish on my, for a mustache and the eyebrows. And that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. All that kind of stuff. I had to bed. I was practicing it over and over again. And then it came time for the audition, and I was terrified. I was afraid I was gonna stutter. I was frozen stiff, and I came up there. It was so embarrassing, totally dressed as Groucho with the shoe polish and the fake cigar. And I walked up and I froze, and it was like one of the worst experiences in my entire life. I remember it vividly. And then I was at, it's just like, talk about different atmospheres. And then that night I was at a vaudeville party at my parents' house. And there's always very interesting characters there. There's this one guy, Tony, who was a sing-along piano player. He kind of sang like Ethel Merman, bye, bye, Blackbird, that kind of stuff. And there was a juggler, there were pro wrestlers there, but the story really happens with a guy who did tremendous improvisational comedy with a barbershop quartet. And he noticed that I was kind of down, and he came over and he started talking to me. And I thought, this is probably the most uplifting guy I've ever seen in my whole life. And I told him, I said, I feel awful. I feel, I don't think I used the word depressed. I probably used like that. I'm really sad, and I feel horrible about myself. I said, do you know what I'm talking about? And he says, you know what? I get sad all the time, Richie, and I get nervous all the time. And it's really, when I go out on stage, sometimes I feel horrible backstage, but then I get on the stage and I'm smiling. And I just it blew me away. This really affected me, because I was like, how can somebody do that? I just kind of flubbed up this audition. I also noticed he was heavily drinking.
Sometimes that helps.
Yes, as you can testify. Anyway, time went on, and I got interested in pro wrestling. So I lost 75 pounds in 1 year, and I was really working out hard. Well, and then I got into the school play. I played Conrad Birdie, in the Bye Bye Birdie, and that really was a life changer. And then I ended up, I was still pretty underage, but I started singing at a country bar called the Club Utica. That's the place where my dad said, he loves George Jones and Conway Twitty. I was listening to like a Bowie and Iggy Pop and the Talking Heads at the time. And he's like, I had no idea who George Jones or Conway Twitty was, but in a week, I was going to be singing their music. And so I was very, very nervous. Thank God for the Tucci brothers, like the house band. Oh my gosh, they were amazing because we didn't practice. They just knew the song. So I got up there and I was so nervous because I learned the songs, but I truly didn't understand the music until I played there for a long, long time. And then I ended up loving country music, but I also ended up loving to drink a whiskey before I played in the shows. And that was kind of, I don't know, like I wanted to share that story because I think that when people go and see a show, they see the band just like smiling from ear to ear. It's like Christmas morning in their eyes, like, ah! And it's, it isn't always like that. It certainly wasn't like that for me and a lot of different people that I know. And that continued. My dad, once again, his name is Mr. Bittness, but sometimes me and my sister Cassidy call him a Mr. Full of Bootness, and he would say anything. He loves John Cougar and Bob Seger. I never sang rock a day in my life, but then we're playing at rock clubs. And it was another big transition, and then we ended up playing at lounges and this and that and the other thing. But I guess another point is, and I told you on the last show, I suffer from severe depression, and looking forward to a brand new experience, a brand new kind of music, was something that really kept me going. And it's like to this day, the different changes in my life give me something to look forward to. I always want to do something that I haven't done in the past. So I guess I also want to encourage people, if you have like a dream or an idea, anything, I never did that before, I'm probably not going to be good at it. Well, you don't know if you're good at it until you try. So that's one of the reasons why I want to tell this story, is because sometimes stepping outside of your comfort zone is like the best thing artistically that you can do.
No, I completely agree. And go back to what you were talking to a little bit before, if you don't mind, about, because I know that your family has got a background in vaudeville. Is that your grandparents or your parents, or?
Well, I came from a show business family, and I've always kind of described them as like the Addams family. They actually taught us Christian values by accident. Because they just loved everyone and accepted everyone. And a lot of the people that came to our house were vaudevillians. And my dad was an original 1950s rocker, but he is he's a multi-talented, or I could say he's so optimistic he tries everything. But he's also like a magnet for, I don't know, like people that are off the beaten path are attracted to. He's been called a magnet for insanity. He's been called a patron saint of weirdos. He's really the kind of a guy who attracts a very, very, very diverse group of people to the house. But the people who I think I saw the most when I was younger were the vaudevillians. And they really shaped and changed my life. There's this one guy, and Alex, I know you do impersonations. His name was Dick O'Connell, and Dick was an impersonator. And so he exposed me to people like Bela Lugosi, the children of the night. What music they make. And Peter Lorre, this is driving me insane. He introduced me to the world of impressions. And then obviously the pro wrestlers had a big effect on me. We're practicing like sequences in my front room wrestling sequences in my front room. I picked up a lot of jokes, and I also, I think that the vaudevillians taught me more than anyone. And the one thing that sticks out is they gave me all these lessons. And the one thing that they said is, see, now you remember when vaudeville turned into burlesque, it was more a risque type of thing. Well, when you work a risque, they called it working blue. And they, Richie, don't work blue, man. Don't work blue. And I kind of, that stayed in my head for the rest of my life. I remember when I was on the road with my Live from Las Vegas show band, we were playing a lot of resort areas, and one of them was Caesars in the Poconos. There's 3 of them there, and I think this one was at the Cove. And I was handed a joke before I went on stage. And this joke was incredibly off color. It made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. And it didn't work with my character. It's kind of like, you know, a Wayne Newton getting smarmy. You know, it just didn't work. And I just kept thinking, don't work blue, Richie. Don't work blue, man. Don't do it. And I didn't. And man, they weren't happy about it. I never played there again because I didn't do the joke. So, but yeah, the thing about vaudeville is you get such a diverse amount of characters in your life, and they had it great when they were doing it because there was actually a circuit. They would play all different places, like, you know, around the country, and when they were done, they just came and played them all over again. I mean, we don't have anything like that now. You know, it's basically. I just wanted to come back on too because I like you guys, and after I did the show last week with Patsy Silver, who's like one of my favorite people on the planet, her and her husband Joe, I had a great time. I met Alex for the first time.
Likewise, it was great.
So Alex, can you do some impersonations for us?
I love doing impersonations. I tell you, you're hitting so many like nails in the head for me, just about impressions and the weight and stuff. That's kind of how I grew up too, just growing up, and like I just didn't fit in. And Jim Carrey was one of my idols growing up, and I just wanted to emulate him so much. So, and it's funny when you listen to a lot of these comedians, how they kind of got their shtick and stuff like that. They would always say, well, there's this guy I really liked, and I would just look in the mirror and I'd try to do impressions. And that's exactly what I did with Jim Carrey. And really just growing up, I overcame some of the issues that I had with kind of trying to be social with trying to do impressions. And that kind of got people laughing, and that helped to build relationship with people. And man, the one thing that you said that it hit me was just kind of just try and just go for it, you know, and man, does that speak volumes, and it does work. And sometimes when it doesn't, you just got to kind of get yourself back off, and the old cliche thing, dust yourself off. But impressions, one of my favorite impressions to do, you know, Alan Alda from MASH.
I do.
All right. So here's Alan Alda. Let's just say he's in the swamp with who are the other
Hot
characters?
Lips.
Pete, help me out.
Hot Lips.
Hot Lips Houlihan. All right. Hi, I'm Alan Alda from MASH. Remember me? Let me tell you a story. I was in the swamp one day, and Hot Lips Houlihan came in, and she was all over me. I told her I can't do this. I'm the captain of the surgery team here, but she just wouldn't get off of me.
And the crowd goes wild. I'm going to ask you to do another one, but I forgot a very, very, very important point of why I wanted to tell those stories.
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. So, listen, kids. You know, when you're performing and you have to rely on like alcohol and drugs and things like that, do yourself a favor and videotape yourself and watch your performance the next day. You'll never do it again, because I'll tell you what, when you're out of your mind, you think that everything that you're doing, you have no inhibitions. I remember wearing a black leather jumpsuit with fringe, crawling out to the stage like a panther. And at the time, I'm like, oh man, that's so artsy. And then I watched it, I'm like, I look like a total idiot. And, you know, that was a wake-up call. And not just that, you know, kids, doing drugs and drinking alcohol. Alcohol is really the drink of the devil. Hard alcohol, man. It's like when you get, I mean, not everybody, but me, again, I'm addicted to everything that gives me pleasure. So hard alcohol, I've done the stupidest things I've ever done in my whole life. And from other self-medicating substances that I've done, I've totally lost my memory, and I'm sure a lot of my IQ. So
you're so right, though. I know for me, if I'm performing, I'll do one shot of whiskey just to kind of set the tone for the night, and that's it. Because if you keep doing it, I know for me, and I've told my bandmates this, because, you know, hey, let's go do another shot. That whiskey will start working through my fingers, and then all of a sudden they become marshmallows, and they don't want to play on the frets of the guitar.
in the beginning, it's absolutely wonderful. But it's almost like you're caught in the temptation, and you drink more and do whatever, and then it stings you. You've lost all of your, well, not all of your, but a lot of your ability. And again, videotape yourself. If you think you're awesome when you're wasted, videotape yourself and watch yourself. You won't think that anymore. And you know, it's time that I get another impression from you, Alex, and I'll give you one. Here's Snagglepuss. Heavens to hazardous, 23 skidoo even. There you go.
That is great. That is awesome.
Well, all right, Alex, follow it up, man.
Come on, Al. Pete, you know what he can do. Can you suggest a good impersonation? I can't be the only one acting like a clown on the show.
No, I do some James Bond, Alex.
James Bond. Oh, some Sean Connery. The other day, I was in my study, and somehow I bumped into something, and a book fell on my head. I have myself to blame.
Oh, God.
Is that Sean Connery, like, after he's senile?
Yeah, it must be.
I had my grandchildren over the other day, and imagine the look on their faces when I told them to shit on my lap.
Oh, that's class. That's.
I'll give you one more, and this is for the younger crowds, and I think they'll appreciate that. This is Stuart Griffin from Family Guy introducing Three Chords and the Truth. Hi, Stuart Gilligan Griffin here, introducing Three Chords and the Truth, live with Pete Kramer, live from Lancaster.
Okay, now that one, and the crowd goes wild.
That was amazing.
That's awesome, man. I think we probably do have a lot in common.
Sure.
It seems that we both have a background in country music too, and like for the first time in my life, I'm starting to get exposed to jazz, and Van Taylor, who I think is going to be a guest coming up, I hope, because Van is the man. The guy travels all around the world. He is amazing. He not only has tailor-made jazz, but he runs the music on the front lines. He does like kind of like USO shows like all over the world, and he does just amazing things. And he's exposed me to jazz, but and some amazing musicians and talent like Joyce Wilson Nixon and so on. I mean, there's too many people. Richie Valentino, baby, and there's too many people to mention. But there's this incredible jazz player. His name is Bob Davis, and Bob has been playing me all this different kind of music. And I think Alex and Pete, like when you're in practice and somebody makes a big mistake and plays the wrong chord, you go, jazz chord. Yes, come on. That's what, and it's like exposing myself a lot more through Ben Taylor and Bob Davis. I'm learning there's a lot of merit to this music, and it's like, I guess that what I'm trying to say is another thing. I think people should really open themselves up to all different styles of music. I've had people, I've done St. Patrick's Day shows before. Oh, I don't want to play that song. Mm-hmm. And then they play it and we perform like, oh, I love doing that. It's like, I think sometimes you just have to, again, jump outside of your comfort zone and be open-minded. I highly suggest trying different styles, and I don't know, it's kind of refreshing and freeing,
Now, I'm pretty sure
if you're ever afraid of doing an Irish show, you gotta at least do the Unicorn song, and that'll just set the tone for the entire night.
That's the one song I did, Finnegan's Wake, Black Velvet Band, of course, Danny Boy, and all that kind of stuff. But don't forget, I grew up in Irish pubs. I'm Irish, so I've been exposed. There was this guy, Niall Donahue, who had his own dinner theater, and man, he was such a great entertainer. And him and Jackie Jocko. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jackie Jocko. He's like a legend in this area. He had his own dinner theater too, and I called Jackie Jocko the one-man carnival. He's a vaudeville show in himself, and the both of these people inspired me to work on doing my own dinner theater shows, and that kind of popped up in the late 90s, where I did dinner theater shows for bus travel groups and things like that. So it's like, I also think you should talk to people from different kinds of styles and genres of music and entertainment, because a person who, I don't know, you would never think a person that you don't understand can change your life. But man, I'll tell you, that has happened so many times. And, even when people have problems with diversity, and different races of people. And it's like, I think the biggest thing that you can do to be a well-rounded person is expose yourself to people, because I've learned one lesson. If you're cool to me, I love you. If you're not cool to me, I'm going to try to stay away from you if possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I got to go into this real quick, because Richie sent me a whole bunch of stuff the other day in terms of videos and whatnot, and he doesn't know what we're going to show. But there were 3 different segments, one of which was drama. And I thought, this is a music show. We don't need this. But Richie's acted in different movies and whatnot. He's got the jazz hands up. I saw that, Alex. But before we go into that, let me just quickly say, if you dig what we're doing, please subscribe to the page. Please like what we're doing.
Yes,
leave
please.
some comments. We'd love to hear comments. We'd like to respond to comments, because we absolutely will. And we also have Sebastian DeJesus at Master Control sitting right behind me. And, he's running all the boards and stuff like that, making all this stuff happen for us. If you get the chance, dig his show, 42 North 78. Am I screwing that up, Sebastian?
West. 78 West.
42 North 78 West Sports Show. if you, I've been watching that since September when he first started. I should know that by now, but and
you know how many people hear Sebastian's voice after all these shows and they're wondering what he looks like?
He's going to have to get in front of the camera one of these days because
we got to set up like a Periscope camera just for
comes.
him.
Here he comes.
You know?
He's on his way over here.
How are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian, producer of Three Chords and the Truth.
Imaginary friend. He's real.
He's the guy that makes everything happen. You thought he was a myth. He's not. He's the real deal.
Master Control Sebastian.
That's him, man. But anyway, you got that clip over there, dude?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so this is something that I have no idea. It's kind of like a montage of different things that I've sent. Is that right,
no,
Peter?
it's one portion of a montage that I thought was like, holy, are you kidding me? This is so cool. And Richie doesn't know that. He's got no idea what we're showing, so I'll make my comments after we watch the video.
I hope it's something I sent you.
Oh, it is. It's something you sent me. Go ahead, Sebastian. Roll it.
Welcome, Mr. Harvey. You know, I heard a rumor that you have a very interesting talent.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Charles. You don't have a clue? Oh,
I just flattened some tires, okay? I didn't hurt anybody.
sure you did.
Hey, kid. How'd it go in there?
That's Richie Derwald, the promoter of peace.
There's a left turn, yeah. I thought you were going to show pot roast. I don't know if you guys have ever seen pot roast. It's like a meatloaf, a parody, like, you took the fudge right out of my mouth.
I have seen that.
Oh, it must have been while you were kissing me. But he shows that draw.
Wow.
It's these people were the only people to ever let me play a villain, because of my baby face, right? And I had such a great time. The other actor you've seen there was Brian Patrick Stoyle. And Brian was such a great person. He was like the head writer along with Gail Golden. And he did the most amazing thing. It's kind of like when a band works on originals and just these great ideas pop up. Well, Brian had he had the skeleton of the script, and he actually taped us improvising these scenes, and it was the best thing that could have ever happened for that film. I actually I don't know. I was so happy to play a villain because they never let me be a villain in pro wrestling. I even tried to be a villain once. It was Ricky Starr, and they still liked me. So it's like, so finally I get to play this character that everyone's going to hate. It was wonderful.
Well, what struck me about the whole thing was the fact that, your Facebook page, here you are trying to promote all this creativity and positive things that have come out of COVID and whatnot. And then I open up this email that you sent me the other day, and the first thing I see is you shooting somebody in the head. I'm like, oh, that ain't Richie.
Like I said, that was a left turn, man. I'm telling you. That's the vaudeville people. That actually goes in with the theme. You always got to try something new all the time. Keep it fresh.
Well,
right?
you certainly did that.
Pete, is this where we say the topics on the show do not necessarily reflect those of Three Chords and the Truth?
I guess you might have to there.
No, okay. Let's get that out of the way because we're running out of time.
All right. Wipe slate
Yep,
clean.
let's do that. Jeez. We've got some Richie Derwald singing queued up. All right?
mystery of losing you. And in this labyrinth, where night is blind,
We're back. That was Richie Derwald from
it was quick.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was all these Vegas tunes that I was blessed. I got to be honest, because other than all these vaudeville people, I grew up next door to the Colemans, and Casey's a boyfriend was actually a Las Vegas legend. His name is Gene Barari. He's opened so many times for Don Rickles. Actually, he's part of the show. He didn't open, but he was amazing. And I was doing a rock at the time, and Gene Barari went to a vocal coach. I'll say that as I choke again. A vocal coach that actually, tutored people like Engelbert Humperdinck and people from the Metropolitan Opera, and you could hear it in his voice. In fact, I heard him before I heard Tom Jones, and he inspired me to really take vocal lessons. And not only that, but he hooked me up with his vocal teacher, who was retired at the time. And if it wasn't for Lois Gilbert was her name, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't still be able to sing. I'm 54 years old, and I have abused my voice, unbelievable. And then after I took the lessons, a lot of the shows I did in Las Vegas, I was, pretty young at the time, and I went down there, and I got in. Sandy Hackett, who's Buddy Hackett's son, had something called the Showcase of the Future Stars, and I was able to sing on this showcase. And it was when like the Mafia still owned Vegas, so the showrooms were different. I played at like the Mint and the Silver Slipper and the Union Plaza, and there's a lot of places that didn't exist anymore. But I was able to see some other great entertainers, and I saw this show called The Legends. They're the Legends. They have all these different people come out. Like one guy impersonates Elvis with the outfit. One guy impersonates Tom Jones and Elton John and Neil Diamond and so on. And once again, my dad's like, Richie does a tribute show, but he does all the characters by himself. So
No pressure there.
I did already impersonate Elvis, as so many people do, and from playing Conrad Birdie, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but Conrad Birdie was actually based after Conway Twitty, because they wanted Conway Twitty to be the next Elvis, but that didn't work out, and I'm glad it didn't, because he did some amazing country songs that I still love. I still love the singer too. But anyway, the Legends show changed my whole life, because that's what I did. I went out and I got the outfits, and I started learning how to impersonate things like Elvis and Tom Jones, and I was thinking about staying in Las Vegas, moving there and staying there. But I think I would have died if I would have stayed there, because there was so much alcohol, drugs, and it was just, I know why it's called Sin City, because behind the scenes at the time, it was a different Vegas then. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's kind of like Vegas Disneyland, because they have all those, animated things, and
it really
is like that at the time.
Yeah.
I went to I was performing there, and I went over, and there was these incredibly beautiful girls, and they were really talking to me a lot, and I'm like, I love this place, and I was like, Richie, those are ladies of the night. So anyway, the whole scene would have killed me, and and this, I have to say, this is another God thing. There was, I mean, I think that God actually spoke to me and said, Richie, you got to leave, man. You can't stay here. So I turned down the job, and I went back home, and it was probably the best thing that I ever did, because I don't really think that anything would have happened other than me dying. Because again, I'm trying to explain to everybody out there, if you have some kind of addiction that you feel, I can't perform unless I'm wasted. Now, Alex, I'm not talking about people having a shot or
Sure.
two. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about anything in moderation. I'm talking about people like me,
Right.
who feel that they're so anxious or afraid of the audience, because sometimes when you go out there, I know I still worry to this day, oh man, are the people are gonna like it? And I have all these butterflies in my stomach, and it's not till I'm actually out there singing that I start feeling comfortable. Do you guys go through that?
There is one person I always think about as far as, I guess you can put him on an entertainment level, and it's kind of a sidestep from what we talk about here today. If you ever listen to Jim Kelly talk about his emotions before he would play any football game, he always felt the need that he had to vomit, like literally vomit.
Wow.
His emotions were that high. And I almost feel like each person that's in an entertainment type of business, whether it's music or art, or if it's acting, or Jim Kelly's situation, he was playing football. We all kind of have our crutch, if you will, that makes us feel like, this is what I need in order to entertain. But a lot of what we really do need is the realization that the reason why the people are out there in the audience is because of you. It's because you have proven time and time again that what you do, that is the drug, right? And that should be the drug for you to get out on that stage and do what you're supposed to do, and use the gifts and the talents that God has given you, as I firmly believe in. But that's just kind of how I feel. Pete, what do you think?
I have to agree with everything you just said. I mean, both of you, actually. I mean, there's that certain degree of uncertainty that, you're going to hit that chord on the guitar, but then you're going to sing something else that shouldn't come out of your mouth, So, and that's happened, I mean, we played that one thing at that Porch Fest, Alex. You were there, and Doug and I got up there, and there was something that we had forgotten about, which is that I was supposed to capo my guitar, and Doug was supposed to play it open. Well, we started playing it, and once we started playing, there was no stopping, because you can't just
That's
stop.
right. Yep.
And yeah, but you learn from your mistakes. But no, I get what you have to do to just get up there, because there's a thing called stage fright. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
But I think that Alex kind of had the answer. It's really, I'm like in general, like my personality, I'm a people pleaser, and I've always been a people pleaser to a fault. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest highs that I get is when you have a hot crowd, and you're not only entertaining people, but you have this chemistry with people that music is the only thing that brings this chemistry. You know that you're talking to people because of like when you sing a song and there's somebody who cries in the audience, it makes me cry. You know what I mean? It's you connect so heavily. Like when you hear all these entertainers like, I love you guys. Well, it's true. We do love our audience, like deeply love and care about our audience. And when there's a great night and everyone is being entertained and you're allowed in their life, and you're allowed to share this special experience with them, that's the greatest drug on the planet. There is no alcohol, there is no drug that can make you feel like that. And at this point in my career, I don't need alcohol. I don't need drugs to really enjoy entertaining, because right now I'm going to use everything that I've ever learned. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna tell jokes. I'm gonna do impersonations in a show that uses my lifetime experiences to help people who don't understand what it's like to be depressed to understand it, so they can help their loved ones who are suffering from depression. And I think that, that's almost like a calling. Like I have to use everything that I've learned all of my life, because I think it's really important. Because let me just real short, this is not a musical thing, but from personal experiences, when people who don't suffer from depression try to help you, it doesn't go well. It's like, hey, Richie, snap out of it. Oh, Richie's upset because he didn't get his way. Well, kids, that just doesn't help anyone. That just makes, that just made me irritated. It also made me feel even worse about myself. And that's why I think this new presentation is really important. And plus, I get to use real life stories, which means I can sing and do impressions as I'm being incredibly vulnerable and telling you all my inner secrets and how it really feels to go through a horrible depression, kind of like we were talking about Brian Wilson earlier, right? How he was locked himself up in his room, but you become so introspective that one of the things that can take you out of that is creativity. Like, he obviously had to get out of that depression to go to the studio to record Pet Sounds, right? I mean, he had to get out. And it's like, when that's what I'm saying, try new stuff, try new music, try new things, because as we all know, it's not like you just hit the stage and you're doing a brand new song. There's a lot of practice, there's a lot of rehearsal, there's a lot of effort, just for me to learn the words. You know what I mean? Just for me to learn the words and be confident that I'm going to remember them on stage. And then you work on your tone and your phrasing, and then you have to understand the music and the story that you're telling at the time. And I have to agree with Patsy Silver. If you're going to go out and sing, don't like have the lyrics in front of you on a, I don't know. Maybe this is just for me. I hope I'm not offending anyone, but music is...
Everybody's offended these days, Richie.
Offending anyone who reads lyrics when they sing. It's just that it is our job to provide the audience a vacation from reality. It is our job to present a whole new world, and that's why, like, in a lot of all my presentations, I take my own backdrops, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's like, it helps me to be the show person that I want to be. And when you can take people into that, like I call it, like a magical wonderland of entertainment, where all your worries and stress and everything go out the window, then it's kind of worth all the practice and the rehearsal. And you'd be amazed, I know people know this, but the experience that you have as a vocalist performing with talented musicians that are so versatile, it brings your entertainment and your experience to a whole new level, because when you collaborate with people, you bring out something brand new in yourself that you didn't have before.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. But Richie, thank you for sitting in tonight. That was so cool of you to do that for your buddy Jamie. And we all say a prayer that we hope that Jamie's son gets better. And
absolutely.
The cool thing is about doing this show is that almost every one of the shows there's been mention of God in the whole thing. which to me, that's very cool. But again, thank you for stepping in. I hope you'll come back again. And I hope the next time you come back that you two, Alex and Richie, can do impersonations of each other.
Oh man, it's like I'd have to like take videos and audio stuff and study Alex. I can't just like, oh, I'm going to do an Alex impersonation. It's not like, well, baby, no, it's not like, doing Elvis. But you see, I would like to actually have play those. You've seen the Jimmy Fallon show?
Oh, I love. Are you thinking the impression game?
Yeah, we could do.
I love the impression game.
Impression game, our version of the impression game. We can talk about.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can interview both of you guys about. You've kind of heard a lot about me. I'd like to hear a lot about you, and I'd also like to say I think that God comes into this because God is the creator. He's created everything. And I'm talking about comfort through creativity. God created everything. I mean, everything. So sure, it comes into music and entertainment because, inspiration, you don't know where stuff is coming from. And you know what? I'm going to shut up because I know you got to wrap up.
No, but go to Richie's page, Comfort Through Creativity. Was it 2021? Is that how you find it up?
Yes, well, I had to piggyback off the success of my original song, Changes, who, by the way, it's not mine. It's all the people who worked on it. Sam Ferraro, Patsy Silver, Pat Terry, of course, who's the guy that introduced me to you in the first place, Pete. And so I had to piggyback off the success of Changes. So it's called Changes 2021, Comfort Through Creativity. And please visit that page and post your videos. It's a great page. It's singers, it's artists, it's photographers, it's fashion models, it's all different forms of art on one page, and we're all encouraging each other, we're building each other up. And I want to tell you something, when you help someone else, you're really helping yourself.
Absolutely. And seriously, that's Pat Terry, he's one of the coolest guys to begin with. I mean, you got to love Pat Terry. I mean,
and he's great.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible singer, incredible guitar player. I mean, he's just amazing. But yeah, this is what this whole thing is about, to get musicians together that didn't know each other before, and you put stuff together, you put people together, and that's, again, great how that we got to meet you, and you've been on 3 shows now. This is cool, and
he's hit the hat trick.
Let's just keep it going. And
next time I'm going to ask you guys questions. Enough of Richie, man.
No, but next week I'm pretty sure it's next week. We got Van Taylor. The week after that, I think it's Anthony Succio, and then we've got Marsha McWilson. So
call Marsha McWilson Sugar Mama. Okay, just do that, because I call her a sugar mama all the time. Mark Webber, he's kind of the brainchild of a sugar mama, but Marsha McWilson is so funny. She is so funny, folks. You have to catch all the shows. You got to catch Van Taylor, Anthony Casuccio, and Marsha McWilson will blow your mind. She had
me in stitches when I talked to her on the phone. And then the following week after that, we have we're gonna have Jamie Hoka back. Hopefully his son will be fine and everything will be good. But he's agreed to come back and do the show. And again,
and then like you said last time too, Patsy Silver one of these days got to come back.
Yeah, everybody's got to come back.
I gotta shut up. I'm producing your show. Okay.
Alex, you got anything else you want to?
We're gonna have a reunion show, Pete, on your back deck.
Why not?
Say no more.
Do you remember the show 3 Chords and the Truth? Well, we brought back all of your favorites.
Alex, you got anything you want to add, man?
No, this was really great. I love, Pete, you shared some sentiment that I was feeling as well. Certainly in showbiz, there's no shortage of any artist that has ever gotten up and accepted an award that hasn't looked up and said, I thank God for this. And that is extremely important to understand that the gifts and talents that we have is as I like to say, from a important talk show person I used to listen to, these are gifts and talents on loan
I
from
know
God,
that guy.
and we need to use them while we are here on Earth. And this was a great show. And Richie, thank you very much for being on here today. And we will certainly have you on again. And Pete, I'll let you take it away here and close it out.
Chords and the truth. And thank you so much, Richie Derwald. Thanks for being back, and thanks for filling the void. And we'll be back next week with Van Taylor. Adios.